Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Today, we have a Crucible video. Yes, although it's going to be a bit of a recap of things that I had already done, because instead of recording it as I was playing it, I did a lot of this on my phone because I was a little bit busy. And yes, I did lose my first match. Congratulations to Winterfell. Now, I'm pretty sure this was a large TCP punch up in my case. He had insane amounts of diamonds on characters that I probably would never have done. But in this video, I want to recap a couple of clips that I thought was really, really interesting. And I also want to talk about Cabal and what you can do with them on a budget. Yes, if you're someone like me and is not putting an insane amount of resources to the moon on this team, don't worry. There is still a lot of value that you can actually get out of them. And hopefully you have leader unlocked, unlike stupid me. For some reason, I'm 95 out of 100 shards, and my alt account has him, so I must have missed the free claim or something dumb. So I don't have them quite yet, but I did manage to use them anyway. So I'm going to show you all in this video. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. So there's something that I want to show you guys first, just right off the bat, is my attack on room number 1. Now, this was a punch up, right? And I basically, what I've been using Cabal for right now, it's not even the full Cabal. This would have probably gone differently had I had leader, but basically I'm running them at gear tier 14 with the T4s and the passives. And I'll show you my Cabal in a little while here. But I think there's two things that you can kind of really do with Cabal. You can either do what I'm doing, and you're using them to enable other really strong characters. In this case, I'm using it to enable Kang, and we'll kind of take a look at the footage. There's some other ones where you can actually build them up pretty high, like to the moon if you want. I mean, but for me, I'm putting a lot of gold right now into red gear, so that's the reason why I haven't been able to do that. And I think I probably will later on. It's just I'm being a bit cautious when it comes to my resources and my gold and things like that. But you can use them with other characters such as Emma and Doctor Doom, where you need to have them leveled up more in order to utilize that. So there's two versions. One where you're using Cabal as being a really strong trio, and the other two characters are a little bit less meta in a sense. And then the second way is doing what I'm doing and what others have done, is that utilizing Masters of Evil or even Scroll, right? To really just hypercharge Scroll. We'll take a look at one of those too. So the first one here is going to be mine. Now, Iron Patriot did die, and that's mostly because the Gambit just pinged the crap out of him. But, it might have, maybe it would have gone differently if I had Leader in there instead of Moonstone. I didn't really need Moonstone, but, you'll see how much damage that my Kang ends up doing. Yes, my Kang is very, I think he's level 100 at this point, gear tier 18, right? And just have diamonds on him. So yes, I am enabling Kang to hit harder, right? So, but I want to put this on 2 times. And so this is how I normally play out a battle such as this. I go in for the ability block on Dazzler there, just in case. And then there is all the vulnerabilities on everyone, which is great. In this case, I actually go down on the right on Gambit because I was not able to kill him right off the bat. And there, Iron Patriot dies really early on. But Gambit's now dead, right? And so it's basically, at this point, it's super easy. I use Moonstone to then put the trauma and the stun, and then we're basically good to go. My Namor then lowers the speed bar by 40%. I think it could have been 50, but I don't have the T4 in the alt. And then Kang just sweeps it, right? And so, I mean, it was a very fast kill. In fact, everyone only got 1 turn. Iron Patriot didn't even get his turn, but he managed to do his job pretty well. If you were to take the power away from what I have in my Namor and my Iron Patriot, I was technically punching up a good deal. If you were to just consider the Masters of Evil power levels, right? So, most likely, because it only took 2 turns, had my Iron Patriot been a little bit bigger, yeah, he probably would have survived that ping. So I did lose some points there on the health bonus there. Instead of 20, it was 16. But I still think it was a really good score. Maybe if my Iron Patriot was bigger, he would have survived. But this is a free-to-play version, right? He's 3-star. Like, there's only... Even if I were to... I'd have to gear him to the moon to probably survive... Well, for him to have not died in that instance there. And it's just that, I mean, this is what I call the free to play version, and you're still getting a lot of value out of it because he's buffing other characters. Now, the second one that I want to show you, this one's huge. Now, this one is, I should have paused it there. This is a 1 million punch up Hive Mind in the raid room against Bifrost. This is, I think, probably your best way of doing it. I don't expect everyone to have a 3 million Bifrost, okay? So that was pretty much what I had to go up against, and there were so many diamonds on the Bifrost team. It was just, I'll show you how it went out. It was kind of crazy. But the first thing that you need to do when you start this is you need to do the Void Knight special onto Sylvie, not the alt. You need to steal that energy. Now, from here on, I'm not going to say I played this perfectly. I probably fucked up somewhere, and it wasn't super great, but there was no energy for Sylvie to use her skills. At this point, I used the alt on Gwenum. Now, I was really shocked that Loki ended up getting the stun because I thought that it was the character with the highest damage. I'm pretty sure I read that before I clicked it, and I thought that was going to be Vol. So I was a little bit confused why that happened that way. And I just wanted to get somebody basically down into the red, right? I wanted to take advantage of Carnage's passive and things like that. So I went into Sylvie, but then I realized, right, I should have probably disrupted Beta Ray Bill, because then when I knock someone down low enough, he's going to taunt, right? And that's something where I could have played this one a little bit different. Maybe with Gwenum, I should have gone with the special as well into Vol to guarantee that stun, but Vol had deflect on, so I wasn't really sure if that was going to land. I ended up getting a lot of people in the red, but as you can see, the counterattacks really do hurt. Like, I have like maybe 1, 2 evades. Like, it's not going so badly. It's just when they all start like attacking back and I actually start taking damage, that's where it becomes a little bit of a problem. So you can see like pretty much everyone's in the red, but because they got regen, I think that basically Red Goblin's going to take a bunch of counterattacks and all the evades are going to clear, and then eventually he's going to take a crap ton of damage. So that's the only problem, is that they tend to have their regens up quite a bit. Like I'm taking them out pretty well. Again, I'm kind of just I'm not paying too close attention to like who I'm targeting. I need to be careful on those AoE attacks, right? And a lot of that I can't do anything about because I think Hive Mind have a lot of multi-hit attacks. So I think it's just the fact that they were just so big. Like, their team was just so big power-wise. And my newer characters who died first, Red Goblin and Gwenum, they tend to be pretty squishy. So that's a small problem, but I think that this still went really, really well, given the fact that I was punching up so much. So it's a little bit unfortunate there that Vol did get that special in there, and that did a lot of bit of damage. I think that Vol a striker, actually. There was like a follow-up attack there. So that was different than I was used to. But anyways, I did end up winning this. It just, I did take some damage from the counterattacks. It just hurts so much because they get a lot of raid buffs. Bifrost is great when they have their raid buffs, just not so much outside of it, right? So it is what it is there. I ended up winning, but I did take some casualties, and that hurt me. But I've seen people do it the exact same way, with less of a punch up, with like a punch across or just a little bit of a punch up, and still getting in that 8-3-60 range, I think, which is normally pretty good. When I cleared this one, it wasn't as good. I ended up getting, I think it was 8-3. I want to say 8-3 in the 40s because I lost 3 people. So that was a pretty significant loss there. But I still won it, and I think that was the important thing, that despite that huge punch up, and I want to show you what the score was for that, 8-3-4-2. So yeah, it was not good. I lost 16 points in health score. So, had I been more healthy, right, that would have been closer to 8-3-60. But it was a huge punch up. Like, that was a 1 million punch up, 2 million to 3 million. Absolute insane. They were probably 100 across the board with multiple diamonds on each character. And compared to my Gwenum and Red Goblin, who I believe are only 5-star, right? So that makes a pretty big difference. Had they all had diamonds as well, this probably would have gone a lot differently. As far as my other attacks, nothing really to note. I got scared out of time again. Maybe I could have a one-shot there. I've seen, speaking of out of time, I want to show you, Captain King sent me a clip, which is using Cabal and Skrull against out of time, and it's hilarious. You're probably not surprised what's going to happen, but I still want to show you anyways. It's very short here. I think they drop in here. So, okay, we have full Cabal, and I'm pretty sure he's got them built up pretty high. But it'll be funny because that doesn't actually matter. Now, he's using Vulture, and he's using Super Skrull. So Super Skrull's the main person here, but also take a look at what happens. So Vulture goes in there and does end up stripping the taunt, whatever that other buff was that was on immunity. and then does quite a bit of damage to Starbrand, but that doesn't really matter. But anyways, he goes in and he does this and then kills them all, right? And that's not even with the offense up on Skrull's ultimate. Now, this was room 3, I'm pretty sure, where they get the easier for villains to do their ultimate attack. Didn't even have offense up. It was the additional damage that Cabal provides to the team, to the villains, and just Skrull just smokes it. The funny thing is, it's just a total waste then in a lot of ways of the of the actual building part of Cabal. So this is something that I want to do with my Cabal, right? Is have kind of like 75, maybe 80, G14, G15 kind of range, and then just kind of using them to enable one of my other better characters, because I don't want to invest heavily into them right now, because I'm really, as you guys know, I'm really pushing the red gear for Mephisto as one of my priorities, for better or for worse. So I am taking a little bit of a hit in Cosmic Crucible right now, but I want to just let you know that, yeah, you can very much, utilize these characters at a lower tier. And that's what a lot of people have asked me, like, are they worth building? They are worth building, but I think you can also get away with using them lower because you'll get a lot of value out of it. So that's something I want to share with you there. Also, he used a 2.5 million nowhere on defense that New Warriors absolutely crushed. And then I'm seeing this team a lot, both Secret Defenders and other comps, but Secret Defenders Dormammu in room 6. I had no problems using this team, Superior 6, and that was still pretty easy. I probably could have used Doc Ock instead of Vulture, and maybe use Vulture somewhere else, and maybe maybe I might have been able to do something like this if they weren't as big, right? So maybe if it was a weaker out of time, I might have been able to do something what you saw from Captain King's clip, which was like basically just empowering Skrull to AoE and one-shot them. Probably could do something like that as well. So that was my Cosmic Crucible. Now, the second thing that I want to show you is just what I'm doing with my Cabal. They're up at the top. And hopefully I get leader unlocked really soon. I think there's some extra shards in this current event that we have running. But I have Iron Patriot here at 75, 6665. Now, the funny thing is you only need that level 5 unless you have the full team, which I do not have quite yet. So you don't necessarily have to get that right away either. So you could do the 6664, honestly, because you're still going to get the 50% focus for villain allies, and then the 50% damage in Crucible as well for villain allies. That comes before level 5, I'm pretty sure. And then if your Namor happens to survive, I'm pretty sure I did get that on my turn, actually. I went for the 6665 as well. Now, what's interesting is that, again, just like Iron Patriots, because I thought that I would have leader unlocked by now, that it gives 20% extra damage to Cabal on the passive there, and also the 2 or more Cabal. So you need the full team to have them ignore Deathproof. So I was not able to do that myself. That does make things a little bit easier, depending on what matchups you're using them in. I would actually consider maybe buying this one too. I might do this because you're reducing an extra 10% turn bar. That, depending on where you're using them, I think that might help. Namor does apparently a lot of damage too. It's just that, again, like for me to get all 3 of them up to 95 G18, that's basically because of my roster and where I'm at. That's where I would need to bring them to make them kind of quote unquote more usable. But I think that you can use them as enablers right now and still get a lot of progress out of that. I am going to put the T4 on that ultimate, because sometimes I probably will get to use that, so I think that'll be fine. But the rest of them I'm not really doing at this time. So again, you can see 75. I'm putting a lot of resources into my red gear. I don't know why all these characters are harded, because I'm not actually concerning myself with a lot of these, especially Cosmic Ghost Rider and Starbrand. I haven't really put a lot of resources into either. I'm going like full speed ahead on red gear. Maybe Juggernaut Zombie if I'm forced to do that for Escape from Kiln. We'll have to find out later on this week, maybe hopefully before Friday, but maybe on Friday with the blog, we'll find out where Undying is going to be placed in the tower in terms of how high I'm going to need to build that team. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. Let me know in the comments down below if you have Cabal built. Do you have them built to the moon? Are you very hardcore about Cosmic Crucible? Again, I think there's some value here in Cabal, whether you're, a hardcore Crucible player or not. I think you can still use them to kind of buff other characters, which is really great. So that's the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.